John Jordan does a lot of texturing, and I called him once because I have a piece of his and I really liked what he was doing, and he told me how he did it. So I'll pass this around. That's the texture on this bowl. And I just finished this one, and it's the same texture, but this is a very expensive tool. This is a 1999 etcher, okay? Nothing, and the next piece of it is also highly sophisticated. You take a 10-penny nail, and John was a little reluctant to share this, believe it or not. You take a 10-penny nail, and you polish the tip so that it's a perfect ball, or a pretty perfect ball. And the more you polish it, the better effect you get. So there's a 10-penny nail with one end, and another 10-penny nail rounded over. Now I'll pass this other one around because it gets to the point of texturing and coloring. This is Battlefield Cherry. It comes from the Wilderness Battlefield, and I donate these to the Friends of the Wilderness, and they use them for raffles. And so I wanted to try and create a little bit of focal point. So I made the band, and I textured it with my 1995 engraver. And then I used metallic paint, and then I corroded it with the oxidizing solution, and then I screwed up because it looked like that all the way around. And then I put a coating of lacquer on it, and it dulled it up. So I did a little touch up, but I'll pass it around. You can feel the texture. It's really kind of neat, and it's a simple thing to do. Now, that bowl was a chunk of wood on day one. I probably had been sitting around in my back screen and porch for a couple months, but it was pretty fresh off the log. Okay, so I'll pass that around because the next topic, when I got the bowl turned, it weighed 505 grams. Oh, that's the tenant. It weighed 505 grams on April the 7th. In American Woodturner, there was an article about drying bowls using desiccant. And it said you can take a bowl and you put it silica desiccant, and in 3 days later it's dry. That's a lot of bowl. Well, on April the 7th, it weighed 505 grams. On April the 11th, it weighed 408 grams. Couldn't believe it. And it didn't distort. So I said, okay. So I left it in for another day, 2 and 3. And on April the 13th, 7th, it was 505. On April the 13th, it was 400 grams. So it didn't lose much in the next 3 days. I took it out and sat it on the shop bench for a day, and it gained back everything it had lost on the last 3 days. So by the end of 3 days, it was as dry as it was going to get.
So did you check the moisture?
I didn't check the moisture, but I turned it. It actually felt light and dry, and it was amazing. Now, one experiment doesn't make a theory proven, but the desiccant, it's not cheap, but there's all kinds of desiccants you can buy. You can buy them by the little pouches. This is by the gallon, and you buy the white desiccant is the most efficient, and there's one company sells a brand that comes with a little bit of orange in it, so that when it gets 50% consumed, the orange turns a deep green, and then you put it in the microwave for 10 minutes and restore it, and it lasts forever. So I pass that around. You can take it. Just don't open it up because these damn beads get on the floor. You never find them all.
My understanding with that is when you dry it out, you need to, in the microwave or oven, you need to open it up to let it steam, to let that steam out. So you might have to run it a couple times.
Yeah.
But you got to let the steam out so that it'll release the moisture.
But there's a little more to it than just throw in the microwave. It's defrost for 3 minutes, and it takes a couple of 3 cycles. You put it in the oven for 250 degrees for 10 minutes, and it dries it off. But I'll pass these around, but I want them back because it's a real pain in the butt to get these polished and then usable. But it was fun to do, and I'm going to keep trying on the desiccant And if I find failure, I'll let you know, and if I find success, I'll let you know.
I've tried to do it too, and dried the piece, but mine cracked back up.
Yeah, no, this was like amazing.
Maybe depends, maybe it's just the piece.
Pick on your engraver to replace the engraver.
Yeah, the engraver point comes out with a little screw. It's the cheapest thing you can buy in your shop. You just put it in there. And the more you fiddle with it, the more character you get. You use two different shapes. You can do all kinds of stuff. The longer you hold it on it, the deeper the impression. Barbara?
Did you dry a block of wood and then turn it?
No, I turned it.
You turned it and then you dried it. And what's the difference in between drying it with the desiccant or drying it in the microwave, which is my favorite way?
I don't know, but the microwave, I always manage to get it cracked and it gets hot or it gets warm. This is, my wife gave me a kick saver and I poured the desiccant in, put the bowl in, filled it up with desiccant, sealed it up, let it go for 3 days and came back with 93 grams less, 18.81% to be precise. And it was amazing. And sitting in the shop after I dried it more, it just took on water from the shop. And the fact you can reuse this stuff, that's pretty cool because, it's not cheap, but I got 3 gallons of it and I only needed 1.5 gallons. What I did is I turned that bowl, wherever it is, to about 3/8 because I wanted to see if it would distort. I turned it to 3/8, maybe a little more than 3/8, put it in the desiccant, and 3 days later, I was able to turn it down to a 1/4 inch, a little bit, maybe 5/16. Some places, one place on the bottom, it's about a 32nd of an inch. But so it got a little bit. Okay.
You don't have to score it the same way as drying it any other way.
You would think, but this was so fast.
Yeah, that
And it did not distort. I measured the diameter of it, and it was absolutely precisely cylindrical. Circular.
where did you get it?
Where do you get what? The desiccant? Amazon.
Amazon, there's all kinds.
Oh, yeah, there's 100 million kinds. You get blues, greens.
Yeah.
The orange and white is the most efficient as I read it. Okay, so it was fun to do. Yeah.
Can you say a few words about what tools you used to carve the first bowl?
Yeah, that's a really.
Oh.
To keep the ridges?
Yeah, that was,
How many hours sanding?
well, it's a piece of battlefield cherry, I think. Yeah, and it probably has about 10 hours in it. It's one of those power carvers. You lay it out, you power carve away most of the stuff. Then you take files and file it down. Then you take sandpaper and sand it down. Then you take finer and finer grit. It was my first attempt at carving a textured bowl. And it was fun and it looks pretty decent and it came out okay. But learned that from Adelino Samuel. Yeah.